John Morosi of MLB.com, MLB Network, recently tweeted out. I think like we're recording this on Wednesday. I think he recorded this about 15, or sorry, he tweeted this about 15 minutes ago that Francisco Lindor is going to be traded this offseason and that the Phillies are a potential suitor. So, Ty, do you think there's any scenario in which the Phillies trade for Francisco Lindor this offseason?
I doubt that it happens. I don't think it's extremely likely, but I think it's more possible than some Phillies fans think. I don't think that Lindor is going to he's really going to take as much in a trade as people might think. You just think back to what Cleveland got for Clevenger, even back at the trade deadline. You think about what any huge name goes in, how they go in a trade with 1 year remaining, like that when they're getting ready for free agency. You think back to Mookie Betts last year. There's a bunch of other examples where you think they're really going to take a ton, but in reality, it just seems like the teams that hold these superstar players are just trying to really get something back without much leverage, because they know that the other teams know that they don't want to pay these players in free agency, and that seems like it's kind of the same situation in Cleveland with them trying to trade him.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And it's also, I think it's heightened too. Like the Betts trade happened before any of like COVID-19 and any of the ramifications from COVID-19 happened. So I think, you know, maybe there were teams other than the Dodgers willing to trade for Betts last offseason. You don't really know how many teams. I know Lindor's going to get north of $20 million in arbitration. You don't know how many teams are going to be willing to give assets to take that on. Obviously, Lindor's a great player, but you're trading for 1 year of him, and some players might not know. I don't know if I can even try to re-sign him long term or try to give him an extension before he hits free agency, or anything like that. So I think the Indians have even, like you said, they don't really have any leverage, no matter what. But I think that even is especially true now. Like you're not going to see many teams that are willing to give up a lot to take on, an additional $20+ million. So as for like the Phillies themselves, so my thing with that is if I don't see them trading for Lindor and re-signing JT Realmuto, um, just given the way they've talked about their financial situation, the way owner John Middleton has talked about his financial situation. I think that would be smart. Those would both be smart moves, but I don't see them doing it. Especially if, and then if Real Muto walks, are they really going to give up assets for a guy who's going to be a free agent in a year after what happened with Real Muto? I just don't really see it happening.
Yeah, I think that's the part that makes it unlikely. The fact that they would have to pay Lindor what he's going to get in arbitration. I don't see how you could let one $20+ million player walk in free agency and then go out and trade for another one if the big thing is you're unsure about your financial situation. Apparently, if the Middleton has talked about he doesn't know if fans are going to be in the stands next year, and he's not the governor or whoever, so that's a reason that they're unsure about the financial situation, or so they claim. So I don't, if they're not willing to pay Real Muto, I don't see them being willing to pay Lindor this season, especially when they could get him for just money next off season. So I think that's what makes it a little more unlikely. But I think they could put together the players that it would take to trade for Lindor.
What do you think that package would look like?
From a Phillies perspective, I think something like Stott and Kingery is a good starter, and then you throw in some other prospects, maybe some pitching prospects that are closer to major league ready. Someone like a Medina, um, somebody somebody like that. I think is a competitive offer, just because, like we said, I don't think that teams will be giving up as much as some people might think.
Thank you for watching this clip of the Phillies Nation podcast. You can subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts and always stay up to date on everything